Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. So we've already done the 6th Winter 2016-2017 update. You can find that, it's still on the homepage, videos on the homepage. And also, you can find that later on today, it'll be on the Winter Updates page. There'll be an extensive written report that goes with it, just explaining everything that we've discussed. This is the one you've been waiting for. It's October's ECMWF seasonal model update. So it's a little known secret, or maybe not so secret, but not all that many people know it, that the ECMWF organisation has a long-range seasonal model. Now, the reason not many people know this is because their charts and their long-range model is highly classified. It isn't available to the general public. It's only available to meteorological agencies and within the private sector for a vast amount of money. So it's not widely available to the general public. I've been having a look at this model over the past couple of months. A very, very kind person has been sending these charts to me. And whilst I can't show those charts to you directly, I can't put charts up and let you see them as I normally do with long-range models. What I can do, what I have been allowed to do, is do an interpretation of those charts that I've seen. So this is going to be the GASWeatherViz ECMWF seasonal model interpretation. You won't be seeing the charts directly. I can't do that, but I can interpret the charts for you, and that's what we're going to be doing for this video. They make for very, very interesting viewing. So stick around, and I think you'll be quite interested in what the ECMWF seasonal model is showing this month. Well, before I get on with that, just to say about the ads at GASWeatherViz, there's links to articles on all of the pages. If you can have a browse through widgets and click through the links, you'll be helping us to pay for our website, and thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages, which open up the content. When you watch them, they close back up again. It does all help to pay for GASWeatherViz.com. And with that said, I think we'll just get on with the update. So this is the ECMWF website. You can't see the seasonal model here, but you can see the shorter range charts. Because if you watch the videos at GASWeatherViz in the week, you know that we always look at the ECMWF model for the week to 10-day musing videos. So you can certainly see those charts from the ECMWF within the sort of 5 to 10 day time frame at their website, and this is it. I am on the ECMWF website right now, and the link to this website is on the links part on the links page. But as I say, you won't be able to see the long range seasonal model at this website. So just quickly recap on what the past couple of updates have shown. This was back in August when we did the first update of the ECM seasonal model. So this was my interpretation of the mean sea level pressure anomaly for winter of 2016-2017 as it looked back in August. And of course we had all of the red up to the north and the trough across Central Europe, so it was indicative of blocking for this winter. It's indicative of quite a cold winter pattern back in August. In September, what happened in September is that the early winter period was quite indicative of blocking, and then the actual winter period itself, this is the mean sea level pressure anomaly for December to February, the actual winter period itself just showed a mid-latitude area of high pressure sort of slinking down over the UK and also going into many central parts of Europe, with the jet stream probably riding across the top. So we said, but with that one in last month's update, that the early winter period looked so it could have some quite cold potential, and then maybe transferring to a more anticyclonic and not as cold sort of later winter period. I think that was the signal that was at play when we did the September EC interpretation. Bear in mind, these charts are very basic. I'm not especially good at art and being creative in this sort of way. So you do have to bear with these charts a little bit. I'm not the best in terms of drawing these maps and that kind of thing. But I think they broadly sort of show what is going on. So I'm going to get on with the October update now. We're going to start off with 500 millibar height anomalies. Then we'll have a look at mean sea level pressure anomaly. So this is the latest interpretation of the November to January 500 millibar height anomaly, and what it's showing is that we've got the signal is still there for blocking to be up to the north through the early winter period, so to the north of the UK and also going in towards Scandinavia. Quite a strong signal for blocking there in terms of 500 millibar heights, also extending down through many eastern parts of Europe. We've got above average heights. We've got a trough, weak trough of low pressure in the Atlantic, and then for many parts of the UK and Western Europe, actually the heights are near normal. So the signal is still there for quite a lot of northern blocking through the early winter period. This is the actual winter period itself. This is the EC December to February 500 millibar height anomaly. It remains very similar. We've got all of this red again up to the north around Greenland and extending towards Iceland. Also above average heights through Scandinavia and going to the north of Scotland. Coming down into eastern parts of Europe, we have above average heights as well. And above average heights also going towards the northeastern and southeastern parts of Europe there. To the west and the southwest, the heights are closer to average. And it does imply, I would have thought, that there's likely to be a trough somewhere around the western part of Europe. If we get this trough in around the western part of Europe, we could open the door, because there's such extensive blocking to the north, to that northerly, northeasterly flow. That certainly isn't out of the question. And then this is the late winter period. This is 500 millibar height anomaly for January to March. Got a lot of charts to go through for this interpretation. My very kind source who's sending these charts to me has really outdone themselves for this month in terms of giving us the charts for us to interpret. So this is the EC January to March 500 millibar height anomaly. Again, it remains very similar. Lots of blocking to the north through the polar field. The Greenland, of course, and the North Pole is all up here. This is towards where we've got Svalbard up here, and then off that, you can't see it, but off that we actually go right up into the centre of the North Pole. Also extending down in towards the Baltic and Scandinavia. We've got a signal for above average heights, and then those heights possibly do extend in towards eastern parts of Europe as well. I'm not sure this is one huge area of above average heights, but sort of extends from Greece down here to Svalbard up here. I don't think it's that. What I would probably suggest is going on, actually, is that we've got the blocking up here, and then I think we'll have troughiness through here. Doesn't really show it all that well, although there is a bit of a trough just there around northern France and the southern part of the UK. But I would assume we've got troughiness around here, and then we've probably got another area of above average heights, a separate area of above average heights down here. So southeastern Europe with this ridge is probably quite warm. Actually has probably quite a mild winter with the air coming up from the south, something like that. And the blocking, I would have thought, is bringing the cold air down into that sort of part of Europe. So on the 500 millibar heights, it looks like it's one huge area of high pressure up here and down here. I don't think it is that, actually. This high pressure above average heights in the southeast of Europe is a separate ridge to the blocking. That's up in the north. Anyway, I digress with that. So we've got the blocking up here, and also around Iceland, around Scandinavia, and then extending down through the Atlantic. So late winter, we probably pick up a bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge. We've got this trough through western parts of Europe. It looks quite a weak signal, but I expect this to be a bigger trough. And again, we could be entrenching cold air into that trough. It's a very blocked signal that we've got here for the winter from the ECMWF model this month. That's how the 500 millibar heights are looking. What about the mean sea level pressure anomaly? So this is the latest interpretation of the ECMWF mean sea level pressure anomaly for November to January. This is very interesting. It's perhaps much more simpler to for you to see what's going on here in terms of the mean sea level pressure anomaly. So quite clearly we've got lots and lots of blocking, lots of high pressure up to the north around Greenland. The centre of it is around Iceland, but really the north of Europe and the north of the UK looks generally anticyclonic with a lot of blocking being signalled. Underneath it, I have to change the colour. Underneath it, it looks like we've got a southerly tracking jet stream. Look at this, we've got below average heights in the Atlantic and then going through into southern Europe like that. I think the jet stream is down here, maybe even further south. The jet stream, if I get rid of that, the jet stream is possibly, and that's a bit annoying, but the jet stream is possibly going somewhere like that with below pressure to the north of it. In any case, it is a very block-looking signal for the early winter, which leads us, I would have thought, to bringing in northerly or easterly type influences with the air mass. And then this is how the actual winter anomaly itself looks. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly from December to February. So this is covering the actual winter period. And look at this. It's very, very interesting. If you want a cold winter, you've got all of this high pressure around Greenland and Iceland and going up into the north of Scandinavia. Underneath it, we've got this trough around the southwest of Europe. And undoubtedly, I think we're bringing in the air from an easterly or northeasterly type direction. And remember, the jet stream is also on a southerly track here, doing something like that. So really interesting signals in terms of blocking cold potential here for the winter period. We go on to late winter. This is the mean sea level pressure anomaly from January through to March, and it's more of the same. Maybe the blocking signal is reduced ever so slightly to the north, but it still is quite a blocked pattern, I have to say, there to the north of the UK. And then around Western Europe, look at that, we still have the signal for the trough in the west and southwest of Europe. And between the two, again, we could be bringing the air in from an easterly or northerly type direction. You can't be too specific with these charts because they are very general and very basic, but I think the way the trough and the ridge is orientated, we would still be at risk of some cold incursions into that trough. So if you take the EC model at face value in terms of particularly its mean sea level pressure anomalies, it does appear that we've got a very interesting winter, possibly quite a long winter, that holds potential for cold conditions as early as November and maybe going as late as March. So one of those winters where the cold could be on and off. I wouldn't expect it to be continuously cold all those months. That would be very severe winter, but it could be kind of winter that's on and off over 3 or 4 months with cold weather, maybe the core of the cold occurring around the middle of the winter, December, January, but overall, even into February and March, there could still be potential for cold conditions at times. Really, really interesting update of the EC seasonal model this month. I thought I'd just show you this because this is what the model was predicting in terms of the height anomaly, 500 millibar height anomaly, this time last year. This was from October, well, this is my interpretation of the chart, from October 2015 for December to February 2015-2016. Look how different it is. All of the ridging now is to the south, so it's around the Azores and going in towards the Mediterranean, also in towards France. All of this area has high pressure, weak signal for low pressure to the north, quite obviously, and between the two, of course, we are bringing in the winds from a west-southwesterly direction. So it implies an Atlantic-driven winter. Look how weak the blocking signal is, just a little bit of above average heights to the south of Greenland, but nothing really there in terms of blocking, no blocking being signalled for the winter of 2015-2016. At this point, this was from October 2015. So quite honestly, the model got the idea right for the winter last year. Doesn't mean it's getting it right for winter this year. Of course, every year is different. Every forecast is different. But certainly this time last year, it had picked up a signal for an Atlantic-driven and generally quite mild winter. So that's how the heights were looking this time last year, and compare that to how the heights are looking now, which of course for the actual winter period is this chart, and it's so different, so very different in terms of the two charts. Now, with all that blocking, you might have thought the model would be going for a cold winter, so this is the perhaps fairly disappointing temperature anomaly interpretation for the coming winter, for December to February 2016-2017. Notice quite obviously the signal is for a warm winter in the east of Europe, so we've got the above average temperature anomalies. Still be cold, of course, in Russia in the middle of winter. It's still going to be cold, even if the anomaly is sort of 3 or 4 degrees above average. Still be very cold by my standards. But the mild and average temperatures are in the east and southeast of Europe, quite obviously, and then they're much closer to average in the west and central part of Europe, particularly to the northwest of Europe. Then you have to go out into the Atlantic, actually, to find the temperatures going a bit cooler than average, which is these blue areas just here. So it's not a great signal, despite that blocking. Great signal for colder than average temperatures, but what you have to factor in with these season models is that they very often do overcook the temperatures. It's something that most would do, except the Jamstech. That is one, some reason, that always undercooks the temperatures by a little bit. But certainly in terms of most of these long-range models, they tend to overdo the temperatures quite a lot. So east and southeast Europe, yes, with the pattern that model is going for, you expect it to be fairly mild winter. I would have thought that this part of Europe in the west and northwest is actually likely to be colder than average. So all of this area just here, where it's near normal and just in those yellow colours, this sort of area I would have thought is likely to have colder than average temperature anomalies through here, perhaps. Quite interestingly, I mean, in the east, yes, that is the correct signal there to be warmer than average. So I'm not sure the model's quite right with its temperature distribution compared to what the pressure anomaly is showing. And then we go through to precipitation anomaly for the winter. This is December to February. And again, this is all very indicative of blocking and of the southerly tracking jet stream and low pressure going to the southern part of Europe. So what we have is drier than average precipitation anomalies up here to the north and west of the UK, extending sort of from the south of Greenland and Iceland and going over towards Norway. That area looks quite dry, and then underneath it, obviously, we've got much wetter conditions coming through here. It's wetter than average, heading towards the Bay of Biscay, and also parts of Spain into the Balearic Islands, Corsica, Sardinia, just here, and then over towards Italy even. So that is all indicative of the jet stream being on a southerly track, doing something like that, with the high pressure up here, bringing the air in from the north and east, potentially for western parts of Europe. So that very much makes sense in terms, particularly of the mean sea level pressure anomalies that we're just looking at. It's just this temperature anomaly that looks a bit dubious. The eastern part of Europe, as I say, and western Russia is probably okay in terms of being warmer than average, but I think this area just here should probably be significantly colder based on the pressure anomaly and the 500 millibar heights. all very, very interesting stuff. And of course, we'll do the next interpretation in November. You're going to have to come back for that and see whether this blocking signal is sustained, and if it is, whether the model starts to shift more towards colder than average. But some really interesting charts this month from the ECMWF seasonal model. If the model is getting this right, and if we have such a strong signal for blocking to the north and to that southerly tracking jet stream, I reckon there's very little way that we can avoid a colder than average winter. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what model is going for when we do November's update. That's going to be the final one before we get into the winter period, of course. Do come back for it. Next month is going to be a big day, I think, when that is released at Gaz is when we do the interpretation. So come back next month for the next instalment. But really, really interesting stuff. Hope you enjoy it. This is very exclusive. What you're seeing here, I say the ECMWF is not widely available. Its seasonal model is restricted. The access to it is very restricted. So this is really, really exclusive stuff to Gav's Weather Vids that we're doing for you this afternoon. Check out the 6th Winter 16-17 update if you would like to do that. And, of course, November's interpretation of the ECMWF seasonal model will be released obviously in November. Not sure the exact day, but it's usually sometime around the second or third Sunday of the month. Right, that's all for now, and just over 20 minutes. All that remains is to say thanks for watching.